Weather Center, things are becoming quite active across the Fox 26 viewing area, so I kind of wanted to jump on the live stream here, kind of update you on everything. Maybe you're having some plans about heading out a little bit later on this evening. If you're going to be out really anytime between now and midnight, things could be active across our area, and just want you to be prepared for that, kind of know what you're getting into. At this point in time, I'm not saying don't go anywhere, but we certainly have some areas that we're a little bit more focused on than others. So if you're watching us live, we'll pay attention to some of these warnings that are happening right now. And if you're not watching live, then just sort of keep track on where you are in the time and the scheme of things and sort of update yourself as necessary. So we're going to begin with the fact that all of our counties are shaded in this pink right here. That is the severe thunderstorm watch, and that's going to go until midnight tonight. So because of that, I really want you to be, again, weather aware as you're going out. If you hear that thunder or see that lightning, that's a indication that it could be a stronger storm. And that's kind of what we're noticing and expecting tonight. Is if you see some rain, it's probably going to be a pretty big downpour, heavy downpour. It'll be fairly brief, most likely, but you could also have some hail mixed in, lots of lightning, and definitely some gusty winds. So those are going to be the main threats that we're concerned with, and why we have this fairly broad area that we're looking at as far as this severe thunderstorm watch that's currently in effect. So right now we do have an elevated risk in some spots, so we're moving to a warning now. So while many of us are under the watch, some very specific areas are under the warning. This is going to be over in the southeastern corner of Walker County, just the very northeastern corner of Montgomery County, and then over into San Jacinto County. So we're watching this storm as it moves in. This one, it definitely shows the possibilities of that large hail. So we're talking from pea size up to possibly even an inch in its size. So that's damaging hail. That's something that can definitely cause some problems to you if you're out, and certainly your vehicle if you're out. So probably not a great idea to be moving around a lot tonight unless it's something that you're really, needing to do because of this possibility. Really anywhere in our viewing area, we could have these storms that are popping up and some hail that's sort of mixed in there with them. I've been watching, and I'll step off camera here in a minute and just kind of get some updates, but we've been watching for some reports of that possibility coming in. But this storm here, again, right at the intersection where it currently is located of Montgomery County, Walker County, and over into San Jacinto County, this is where we're seeing some potential for some hail. It continues to move off into the southeast. Now, Cleveland is not actually in the warning yet, but if this storm continues to hold itself together, the Weather Service would again probably move that warning and kind of move over just a little bit more. So we are seeing a lot of lightning, as I mentioned, kind of mixed in here. This is up near Lake Livingston. You can see all the lightning that's in there. So even though that stronger storm where the warning is might not have as much lightning, it has the hail threat and then a lot of lightning just on the south side of Lake Livingston. So if you know some folks that are out on the lake or near the lake, might be wanting to send some text or kind of update them and make sure that they're aware. This is going to continue to move to the southeast. These are moving anywhere from 10 to around 20 miles an hour, definitely making it some impact. So going to switch your gears a little bit, head out to the west, and show that you could kind of see the beginning. Looks like it wants to form a little bit of line of storms. Now, the more organized this gets, the more of the wind threat that we'll begin to look at. So this is going to be something out here in Fayette County where that could be a possibility. Technically outside of our viewing area, but I know at least it's close enough that we want to be kind of connected to that. And again, that's that severe thunderstorm warning. So let me just back up for a minute and kind of give that broader picture of what we're looking at the moment. The Storm Prediction Center has us in that slight risk, or what we would call likely to see some severe storms, somewhat scattered to isolated in nature, exactly what we've got going on across the area right now. This is going to be for the rest of this evening. The hail, the gusty and damaging winds possibly are the biggest threats. And again, we're in this yellow shading, all of the Fox 26 viewing area. That's that threat level 2 out of 5 as far as that potential to see the severe storm. So not just a strong storm, but a severe storm, meaning some large damaging hail, damaging winds, and also the possibility of tornado, but we're not really looking at that being favored for something that we're looking at this evening. Now, further to the northeast, this is where we could maybe see some more tornadic activity. And so you can see how this picture is getting more intense with the storms up into the northeast, all the way up to the St. Louis area. So basically, we have an upper level system that's driving this storm. And from about St. Louis all the way down to Brenham and out towards Fayette County is the frontal boundary, that front that's sort of getting drug in behind it. And along that boundary is where we're seeing these showers and these storms forming. And as I mentioned earlier, most likely if you're seeing it, it's not a shower. It's a heavy downpour, or it has thunder and lightning. And the potential there for some of those more severe risks are also mixed in. So we'll watch this line continue to move through the area tonight up until about midnight. So that's why we have that watch in effect until midnight, because that's the timing on it. So we're seeing this line get a little bit better organized. The storms out to our east, even a little bit further north of Beaumont, these have not been moving very much. They're going to be more of a flooding threat. But this front, even though it's slow moving in a general sense or a bigger picture, it still is going to hopefully have enough movement to it to where the flooding is not going to be as much of a concern for us. So I'm not saying we're not going to have a street or a road, a low-lying area that might fill up with a little bit of water real quick because we catch an inch of rain in a very short amount of time. But in a bigger sense, we're not widespread, at least, looking for a flooding threat. But our friends over here, again, north of Beaumont, that's a different scenario for those folks. We're seeing those strong storms have enough movement right now that we're not seeing that flooding threat. So let's reset for a minute. If you're just joining us or you weren't with us at the beginning of my live stream here, I want to just sort of set that picture once again, and then we'll sort of get in a little bit closer and talk about what we're seeing in specific areas. The pink shading here, all of southeast Texas, for sure all of the Fox 26 viewing area is under a severe thunderstorm watch, meaning the ingredients are out there. We're expecting some of these potential severe storms to form. The specifics exactly on where they are, that's still in the development stages, and we're looking at that happening. So that's until midnight for all of our counties. At the moment, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for a couple spots that are to our north of downtown Houston and a little bit to the east. Basically south of Lake Livingston is where we're seeing that. So this warning right here is new. We did not see this one just a few minutes ago. We were focused on this one that we talked about, the center of that storm being right where Montgomery, Walker, and San Jacinto counties meet. So let me get over here for just a second and move our map just enough to where we can get the information box to pop up and we can get the statistics on what we're expecting here with the potential severe thunderstorm that's happening just to the south of Lake Livingston. So it looks like this one is, since it was just issued, it's going to run a little bit longer, whereas the one that we've been talking about is set to expire at 7:15. This one is set to expire at 7:30. A little bit of a wider area, different counties, because again, where we're looking at it doesn't already include like Walker County. So we're now talking about Liberty, Polk, San Jacinto. These are the counties where we're seeing moving right up into Interstate or Highway 59 is that corridor right in there is where this is beginning to move. Just south of Livingston is where the most intense of the storms are. And we'll look for those same threats. We're looking for the possibility of hail, most likely is what's going to be happening, and then we'll also look for those wind threats as well. So you'll notice that perhaps this storm has slowed down a little bit, and with the flashing, we'll wait and see what happens if this is going to be expiring or if they're going to reevaluate and reissue this one. So we'll see, give this just a second to kind of get that warning sort of coming in as it's updating. It looks like they're going to be resetting that one for just a little bit. So just as I did a minute ago, let me sort of step off camera and adjust so that we can get the latest. I have a feeling they're going to extend that a little bit. Nope, they're just going to kind of keep it going as well. So we are looking at those two areas where we're seeing the possibilities of severe storm taking place. That's why the warning's been issued from the National Weather Service. Hail is the biggest threat that we've been dealing with so far. So we're continuing to watch that happen. I'm just going to click around over here for just a second to get a couple more updates and see if there's anything new on that particular warning. It looks like this last spot on that was going to be just a few miles east of New Waverly is sort of the centering point on that one. It is moving at around 20 miles an hour, and that quarter-size hail is the biggest threat or expectations that we're seeing with that one. I'm going to double check in on the other one. Looks like those are still about the same. It looks like hail is still going to be the biggest threat. So we're going to kind of move around a little bit and get back to that. I did want to just, again, point out these systems that are, or these storms that are over north of Beaumont. So Hardin, Jefferson, and Orange counties, those are those ones that are much more slow movers. Technically not in the Fox 26 viewing area, but maybe you know somebody over there. They're definitely dealing with a lot of rain falling, some very heavy numbers. So getting again a good closer look into here. This one is still the same until 7:15. We're getting within 5 minutes of that, so they might decide to reset that a little bit or move the warning box that kind of goes along with it. That's, of course, this is the National Weather Service, and they're doing a great job. They got a team of meteorologists set to really take a look at that. We talked about this a minute ago as well. This one, which was initially issued with all these dark returns, probably is where the hail is located, but look how much higher count of lightning is happening over here near Cold Springs. So I'm sure if you're anywhere near Lake Livingston, which of course is just north of Cold Springs, there is a lot of lightning that's happening out there, and probably a bit of a scary scene on Lake Livingston. So let's make sure that if you know somebody, you're texting them, make sure that they're moving to a safer area. So I want to progress a little bit, cover a few more things, and then I want to get back and we'll talk about those threats that are happening. But if you're not in those areas where the storms are, it has been very warm, a little bit breezy, getting up into the upper 80s, current temperatures across most of the area, but we're beginning to see this change. We were expecting, this is really right on time as far as what we were expecting with this. Right around 7 o'clock into sunset is when we were thinking that these storms would start to move into the area. So they're arriving right as scheduled, and we'll see what the rain did this morning as far as destabilizing the atmosphere a little bit, or perhaps helping us out some by taking some of that energy out of the atmosphere. So we might be able to kind of have some weaker storms once they get into more or less the downtown Houston area. And here is a quick look into downtown. You can see some darker skies off to the north, and we'll see more clouds, and so mostly cloudy is still kind of what we're dealing with overall across the area. So I'm going to step back over and just sort of check my maps once again and make sure that we've got everything updated here as far as what we're wanting to see with the watches and warnings that we've been having across the area. And we're watching the potential for these storms to develop. So again, I'm going to pause and just sort of kind of start from the beginning and just sort of reset here with us in the fact that this live stream is happening on Saturday night. I know these will be posted in certain social media, so we just want to make sure that you're with me on the right time. It's around 7:15 or so on Saturday night. So again, if you're watching live, I'm glad to hear that. If you got plans to head out tonight, be connected to what's happening. I'm assuming you've already downloaded the Fox 26 weather app. If you haven't, get that on your phone. You're going to be able to see the radar just like this. You're going to be able to plot exactly where you are, and you're going to be able to figure out, maybe I should just stay where I am for a few more minutes. Or maybe if I kind of hustle out the door a little bit, I can get to where I need to go before these storms arrive. Speed up your plans somewhat, because I want you in a safe place and not traveling as these storms are developing across the area. Because where we are now in the process is we really are expecting this sort of broken line to continue to somewhat be broken, but begin to fill in a little bit as well. So we're going to be able to track this a little bit better and a little more. We do have a bit of a storm that's out in the bay of Galveston Bay, so that's just south of or just sort of in the near LaPorte area, I think, and into the bays there. So I'm sure you're kind of aware of some of that thunder and lightning happening there. The watch goes until midnight. So we are expecting this line to make it down to the coast and kind of be out of our area by midnight. So here are the two spots in our northeastern counties just south of Lake Livingston to give us a ballpark on where we're talking about. We're looking at these two warned storms. This one here that's just south of Lake Livingston is where we are seeing a lot of lightning, but also the potential for that hail and those gusty winds. You'll notice that one of our orange boxes there just disappeared. That was the one that we were expecting to expire at 7:15. Looks like they've gone ahead and done that. I'm going to step over and check in and see if there's any updates that I can share with you in a minute about that storm. But you can see overall, it does appear to be weakening slightly. So that's a good thing. We definitely want it to kind of run its course and kind of be done with things. Here's all that lightning that I was talking about with that storm to the east of Cold Spring, moving in towards Highway 59 if you're over in Shepherd or in Livingston, well north of Cleveland at the moment. We're going to be aware of that. And then out to the west, here's where we begin to see more of these storms forming. We definitely like it when we see the motion to it, and I do expect to keep enough motion to it that it's not going to be that flooding threat. But as this fills in a little bit more, the wind becomes a little bit more of a concern. So we'll see how that all kind of unfolds a little bit. We're wanting to make sure that we keep an eye on things. National Weather Service talking about some other storms that are out on the west, which is exactly what we were kind of keeping an eye on. Could possibly be those stronger winds to that Montgomery County and San Jacinto County storms as well. So we're continuing to monitor those. And I'm going to sort of skip down to that watch one more time and just sort of set up that bigger picture, because this is what we're really wanting to be aware of tonight. Is if you're headed out, these storms, if you see rain, you see lightning, it's probably going to be pretty strong. We're not looking at a lot of light showers across the area. We're looking at those heavy downpours and maybe even the hail and the gusty winds. So if you're moving around, be aware of that. Maybe it would be smart to stay where you are a little bit longer, or maybe just not leave at all, possibly is the idea as we're looking at these storms. So here's that system that's out, the Liberty, Polk, San Jacinto County, that severe thunderstorm warning. Right now is set to go until 7:30. We'll hope that it continues to sort of peak already and kind of die down. We're continuing to see that move enough that we're not looking at a whole lot of flooding. We talked about these storms. They're now a severe thunderstorm warning for Beaumont, which is Hardin, Jefferson, and Orange County. That also goes until 7:30, and we're continuing to see this storm weaken somewhat, but still has quite a few downpours, and we talked about all the lightning there that's near the Cold Spring area. So with the temperatures so warm, it really kind of keeps things potentially a problem where they could flare up and become quite stormy very quick. We'll continue to see these very warm temperatures until some of that rain moves through. But even Huntsville, for example, it saw some of that rain move through and the temperatures are still very warm. So here's what it looks like in the downtown Houston area right now. Not much happening except those warm temperatures in the 80s, maybe just a little bit breezy. I talked about this a minute ago. Make sure you've downloaded the Fox 26 weather app. You'll be able to see any of these other live streams if I need to do any more tonight. Our newscasts, you can even watch our newscasts. You don't have to get in front of a TV. You can see those from the download, your free download at your app store as well. And also it'd be great if you want to connect with me. I'm at John Dawson Fox 26. That's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But I'll tell you right now, don't look for a whole lot of weather information on Instagram. I use all these just a little bit differently. Instead of the fun stuff, we keep Instagram for a little bit more fun. So when it's weather happening, it's Twitter and Facebook. That's where you need to check in. But it'd be great if you want to follow me on all of them. I'm going to just sort of skip ahead a little bit, talk about tomorrow, because it's going to be a fantastic day. After these storms move through the night, by 2 to 3 a.m., the storms are done. They're over with, and we're setting ourselves up for a very pleasant day. Probably the best days, the best 2 days in April so far are going to be happening on Sunday and Monday with lower humidity levels, temperatures in the 70s, and we're also looking at the overnight lows in the 50s and even in the lower 50s once we get into Monday morning. So I'm going to click back and check in real quick once again with our warnings that are out there, just so we're aware that at the moment, as I sort of conclude this particular live stream, we have one warning that we're looking at. It is for the area over south of Lake Livingston. So the Cold Springs, Goodrich, Shepherd, and Livingston itself continue to be safe, and we're going to continue to make sure that this is not where we wouldn't need anybody heading out at this time. But the rest of the Houston area, we do have that watch in place for all of the viewing area, and then we'll continue to see these storms become a little bit more organized, and we'll see probably before the night's over with, we're going to have a few more of these warnings that are going to be popping up as this line gets a little bit closer into the downtown Houston area. So I'm going to wrap up our live stream for right now. If necessary, I'll jump back on here and keep you updated. We've got USFL football on our air tonight, so we're scheduled to go on at 9:30. Don't know for sure if that's going to happen, but it'd be great if you wanted to tune back in at whenever the game is over on Fox 26. Or, as I mentioned, if you downloaded the weather app or the news app, you can see our streaming newscasts there as well, and we'll keep you updated. So we'll end things for now. Stay updated, stay connected as we watch these